Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Friday, October 18th at about 5:30 in the afternoon. And we managed to get out here last night and look for that comet that everyone's been talking about. So it's one of the sun-grazing comets that comes close to the sun during its orbital period. Now, it has a very long orbital period, so the next time it comes around is about 80,000 years, they estimate. So you've got to see it this time if you want to see it. So anyhow, we were lucky enough to see it. It took me a little while to find it based on the descriptions that you see written about it. But I finally did find it, and it was quite obvious when you find it. Now, if you're in an area that has pretty good dark skies, you have a very good chance of seeing it if you look for it. But you have to look for it off in the southwest, up and to the right of Venus, which is the brightest looking thing on the near horizon, which is like a star, but it's actually a planet, Venus, obviously. So that's what you look for originally, is bright Venus just after sunset, and then you look up and to the right with a pair of binoculars, preferably. You can see it with your own eyes, apparently, if you live in a very dark sky area. Now, the skies were not that dark early last night because we have a full moon coming up at the same time in the east, so that tends to lighten the skies quite a bit. But even with that, I could sort of see it with my naked eyes, I think, just a faint blur. But once I got the binoculars and then started taking pictures with the phone, then it became much more apparent, as you can see here in these phone pictures. Now tonight, I'm hoping to get out and do some more photography of it, and I'll try and use the camera that I'm filming with right now, which is an older DSLR camera that's also good at taking pictures as well as video. So I'll try and get some pictures with it. I'm not sure if I'll do any better than I did with the iPhone, because the iPhone has a lot of computerization in it that tends to help it gather the light and create the image, even though you're hand holding it. Not that I should have been hand holding it, I should have had it on a tripod, but I was just using my hands, and still the image looked good because it has a lot of this anti-vibrational shake compensation built into the stabilization of the iPhone. So those pictures look pretty good. I may try some of those on the tripod tonight too, to see if they look much different. And between the two, hopefully I'll get some better images even. It's a bit tricky here because we have so many trees, and you're looking quite low on the horizon to see it. Now, apparently over the next few nights, it's going to get higher and higher each night in the sky. So that'll make it easier to see, but it's also going to be getting fainter every night too, to some degree. It may not be a huge amount each night, but it is starting to go away from us now, and so it's going to get fainter and fainter with time. And I'm not sure when the last date is that they expect to be able to see it, but it probably won't be too long in the future. So if you want to see this comet, you should try and get out as soon as possible, at least around this area in southern Ontario. For the next 5 or 6 days, we're proposed to have good clear nights. So other than having the full moon or a very bright moon in the sky to complicate things a little bit, the conditions should be good. And ideally look for an area that has a very clear western horizon, unobstructed by trees or big buildings and things like that. So if you can get out onto a park maybe, or a golf course, or some other place that has really low vegetation and a nice clear horizon, just a big field somewhere that you know about, those would be good places to check for this comet. It's really neat to see it. I was reading a bit about it last night. They estimate it's about 3 kilometers in diameter, and right now it's about 4.5 astronomical units from the Earth. So that's 4.5 times the distance of the Earth to the Sun. That's how far away from us it is. And I think, if I remember right, they say the tail of it, so the comet has a nucleus, which is a solid mass of rock and ice, typically. Maybe more ice than rock in some cases, but so it has that solid nucleus that's about 3 kilometers across. So the tail of the comet obviously is the most interesting thing to look at, and this is basically the ionized particles streaming off the nucleus as it streams towards the sun. So the tail is being pushed away from the sun, and these are the ionized particles that you see going out into the space that are lit up by the sun's rays, and quite an amazing thing to look at, even when it's small in the picture. So anyhow, if you can get out to look at it, try and do so. It's well worth it, I think.